And we were introduced by our good friend Jamie Smart, who, for me, he's working with him. I've been able to be calm in crazy situations, and he connected us because mortgage is one of the top three stressors in most people's life. What's your description of Jamie and your world now?
Now he's one of my very close friends. Bless him. He's a good egg, Jamie. When I met him, maybe 15 years ago or something, I don't know how long I've been under the influence now, but yeah, he's had this similar effect. It's funny you say about stress actually, because we did with Jamie, ironically, we produced like a wellbeing portal on the website because we were like, loads of money in mortgages is being invested in to try and improve the journey. Like it's been this horrible, clunky experience for people since forever. It's not that long ago that some of the main lenders stopped accepting faxes and things like that. There's a lot of like analog dross in the process. So a load of money's going into improving the process, but no one's like necessarily focused too much on helping people cope with that. So yeah, not too long ago, we put a well-being bit together, and that was we had a big team meet up where we had everybody from all around the country come together, and Jamie did a talk with them, and we recorded it and put that on there. And then we've done a series of videos as well about dealing with stress and how to handle the stresses of buying a house and moving and refinancing and all of that stuff. But yeah, Jamie's had a bit of a professional impact on our business as well, actually, as well as working with me. But yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm Charlie. I've got a real estate practice here in Nashville in the States, and I've got a podcast, Top Lenders in America, but we're going across the pond today talking to you. And I've talked to a lot of loan officers, a lot of lenders, and I just love what you guys are doing. I'm curious, like, how did it happen? How did it get started?
Thanks, Charlie. How we started was I'd got to the point I was working for a bank. I'd been a broker for ages and did quite well, and then worked for the bank for a bit. And I don't want to say it was born out of laziness. It was more, but maybe it was a bit. I was working hard, doing well, and there was a lot of people that would come through the bank, and I could only offer the bank's products. There was a lot of people coming in that we couldn't help, and I was locked to that because I couldn't. I knew there was other lenders out there for them and where they could go for that help, and I wasn't able to do it. But also, I was like chasing business all the time, and it was like maybe there's a thing I can do to bring the two together and help people come to me, but also help people properly rather than just force them down one path. And you felt like there'd be situations where, as an advisor, you've got to give the right advice on what's best for the client, but you're limited to one panel of products and one suite of products. So I'll be speaking to people saying, this thing you want to do, I know you can do this somewhere else. You can't do it here, but you could do this here, and it's not quite as good as that, but this is what, and that's not advice for me. It's not the right thing. So anyway, Dave, who's my kind of co-founder, business partner, this is not far off 15 years ago now. He was a friend of mine who actually we met through Jamie, weirdly, and I love Dave. And he was like this harebrained marketing guy I knew he knew a bit about marketing. So I was like, well, I want to build a website for mortgages. And he said it was a stupid idea because it's so competitive. But we looked into it and decided to have a go anyway. And 6 months later, our first inquiry came through and we just built it from there. We found the market really where people weren't getting helped properly. And I think that was partly because my background was I started in like 2007, 2008, worst possible market for mortgages you can imagine, trying to find a lender for somebody, especially who's had problems like credit issues, or they're trying to finance a property that's a bit out of the norm, or their income's a bit strange. Finding lenders for people like that back then was an absolute nightmare. Now, completely different market. But back then, so I think that mindset I had to go to the ends of the earth to try and find something for somebody. That was the types of people that I like to help because they're so grateful when you can help them. And that's what it's all about. And you can really change someone's life, getting them the right. No one wants a mortgage. People hate mortgages. You know, they want the thing it brings them. And the thing it brings people is life-changing sometimes. They want to relocate to get the kids into a new school, or they want to move closer to parents to care for them, or they want to, I don't know, move overseas, whatever it is, life-changing event that if it doesn't happen because the finance hasn't been able to be secured, there's massive implications to people's lives for that. Kids grow up in a different area and go to a different school, and then what does that mean for their lives? And there's this like sliding doors moment that we talk about at work, where getting the right advice and making sure that people can get the thing they want and the mortgage isn't getting in the way of that is really important. So that's our backstory, really. I fell in love with that idea of helping people who really needed it. And then we built the website targeting those people because no one else was at the time. There was nothing. You would search for mortgage after bankruptcy, and there'd be US websites appearing in the UK search results that bear absolutely no value whatsoever for somebody, but because no one was doing it. Now, different market. We've been doing it for not far off 15 years, and we've created a lot of competitors who have seen what we've been doing and tried to do the same thing, and some of them doing a great job of it. The space itself online has obviously grown as the internet's grown, but we've been part of that as well. To answer your question, I've
Yeah.
rambled on there for 10 minutes.
That's great. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, you guys really created this market in your part of the world.
I'd not want to sound arrogant by agreeing with you, Charlie, but I think like we were one of the first there, targeting the types of people. Targeting is the wrong word. Trying to help the types of people that weren't being helped, and we
Right.
started that bit of it, I would say, at a scale. There was some like smaller brokerages that were doing a bit, but they wouldn't give all the information and help out like we do. They would just say, "We do a bit of this, make an inquiry, and we'll help you." And the the kind of larger scale support for people that need it is something that we were definitely if not the first, we were up there with being the first, and in most instances the first, and we've expanded it from there to do quite a decent scale. We've probably helped not far off 700,000 people since then.
Is that it?
It's been a good journey. Yeah, it's been a good journey. But and I suppose it depends how you define helped, because we have millions of people hit the site and read it every year, but not everybody obviously wants to speak to an expert. So
Right.
yeah,
What's something important for your customers or someone watching this video? What's something important for them to know about you guys?
good question. What's important for us? So I suppose to understand what value we actually add to the process, because there's two places to get a mortgage. You can go straight to a bank, or you can go to a broker who will organise it for you through a bank or a building society or a lender that you probably never heard of. So the value that we provide is that there's an education for certain types of borrower that won't know where to go or where to start. So if you've got a particular problem, like the property that you're buying or remortgaging is got Japanese knotweed in the garden, there's only going to be of the 120 lenders or whatever it is in the market, there's 40 that might consider that. Which 40? Where do you go for that information? No one gives the game away on that, and it's not common knowledge what other than going to a broker would know. They'll go and do some research, they'll look through who will lend and everything else. When you've got a particular issue, getting the right advisor is really important, because not every broker, whilst they might have whole of market access, not every broker knows which lenders do what, and they don't have the experience and the expertise to be able to match you with the best deal. So for us, it's about educating borrowers that you would need to use an expert in order to make sure you get the right advice and you end up with the best deal for you. There is a perfect mortgage out there for everybody at the moment in time that they want one, but which one of those in the 10,000 products that are available today is the perfect one? It is sat there somewhere waiting for them to take it. But if you try and do it on your own, something like 65% of lenders will lend to you directly. And there's about 30 odd percent of lenders that won't even talk to you because they have to have a broker do the mortgage for them. You can't approach them directly. So if you want to, even that bit of information, if you want to get the best deal, you're only speaking to 2/3 of the market if you want to do it on your own. It's like going to a doctor and only speaking to somebody who can give you 2/3 of the treatments. You would want someone who's got all of the treatment. So using an expert, brokers have access to almost every deal in the market. It's not 100%, but it's most. So you got a much better chance of getting a deal if you use a broker, the best deal. And then if you've got a particular problem, that percentage increases because the broker only lenders they tend to be more specialist. So if you've had bad credit or the property's really quirky or you've had 1 year's self-employment or you want to use retained profits from your accounts or whatever it is that the issue is, those types of more specialist lenders are the ones that you need. So for some borrowers, you have to use a broker. 100% of the lenders you'd be eligible with, you would need a broker for. So that's the education for customers, is to be like, what does the market look like? How does it work? What does it mean? And what are the benefits of using our broker in general? But then which one is the other thing? So there's two sides to it, because not every broker is created equally. And we've worked with hundreds and hundreds of advisors. I've trained hundreds of advisors over the last 10 years or so, where we were running national training academies where we get brokers into the office and we would train them on, this is the particular type of customer that you're helping, but everything you need to know is here's the lenders that will do it, and we would get them to a point where they would know what they're doing, because there isn't that level of education out there. You do your qualifications as a customer, you might expect, I'll work with an advisor because they're a professional, they know what they're doing and they've got a professional qualification. But that doesn't stand them up to have the experience to know what to do when someone's got Japanese knotweed, or that they're a business owner, or that they're, whatever the situation is, you need a bit of expertise and experience for that not every broker possesses. So our bit of business, to answer your question, what you need to know is those two things. And then what we do is we make sure we work with experts who know what they're on about. So we have a vetting process where we say no to lots of advisors and firms that we don't want to work with. And we triage the inquiry to the right place. So if you're age 70 and you want equity release and you need a specialist equity release advisor, then we would do that. We would pass you to somebody who does that every day. If you've had a bankruptcy, we would pass you to a bad credit specialist who does bad credit mortgages every day. They've not got to go and do research. The last thing you want is, let's say you need heart surgery. You don't want to sit down with your surgeon and he's going to, I'll go and do a bit of research, Charlie, and then I'll crack your chest open. You want the surgeon who's done it thousands of times, does it every day with blindfolds. He goes around the world giving lectures about the treatment that he's going to give you. The word research is banned in our office because I don't think that should be how it works. You should go to somebody who knows already the market, and you're just they're there to help you facilitate whatever you want to do. So that's how we work.
I love that. You don't want the surgeon practicing on you.
Exactly that. Also, then, like, the medical analogy is really useful, right? Because it's something everyone can relate to, and it's such a trusted profession, or it used to be anyway. You want to make sure that was political. Sorry, we can do that. You want to be able to rely on the advice that you're getting. And I like the medical analogy because there's general practitioners, right? And you would go to, and it's different in your country, obviously, but you go to a GP for free, usually in this country, and you sit down with a GP and tell them your symptoms, and they'll be like, if it's, it sounds like an infection, is some antibiotics or whatever, on your way. GPs can handle the easy stuff. But if it's something complex, like you've got serious issue with your back, or you need blood tests because there's something going on, or you need heart surgery or whatever, you're not going to want your GP to put you on the table there and then and crack your chest open. You want to get referred to somebody who does it all the time. Yes, and that is a nice analogy for what we do. There are GPs out, there are general practitioning mortgage advisors out in the market that are really good for a lot of people, but when it's complicated or there's something more specific that you need help or advice with, you're best off speaking to somebody who knows what they're on about. And that's our job. So we've got loads of advisors, and the specialists can do with everything, but they will also specialize in a narrow field. So they can do the straightforward, easy stuff, no problems, but then also bespoke buy-to-let advice, or bespoke bad credit advice, or bespoke, and you'd have a different person that can do those things usually.
If someone wasn't working with you and they were going to look for the specialist for them, like how would someone even try to go about finding the right specialist for themselves among all the hundreds or thousands of brokers?
Good question. You'd often, it's the best way is word of mouth, I suppose, and you chat to your mate, and he's worked with somebody who did a great job for them. But then there's no guarantee that person is a specialist for what you need. They're just good at mortgages. So that doesn't necessarily help you if you've got specific circumstances. So most people just go online. They'll just Google it and they'll search advice for my situation, and then whatever comes up, and there's a load of paid results, and then there's people who rank organically for that, and you're taking your chances on who they are, that whoever Google decides should be number one in that moment, or whoever's paying the most for the advert at that time. And most of the time those firms are broker firms telling you how great they are, but you've got to click and inquire and find out for yourself whether that's true. And then there's us, where we do the work up front to make sure we're only working with people who we know are good, and then we'll triage you to the right place. Then some customers want local advice, which we can support with as well. But the geographical location of your advisor, it's just that sometimes people like to see someone face to face, although that's less and less a thing now than it's ever been. So trying to find someone geographically you can do online. There's other tools and services that let you do that through like directory services. But obviously I wouldn't recommend them, because I prefer people to get the right advice based on their circumstances rather than where the broker might live or be willing to travel to.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite interviews with lenders, it was a lady. She lived in Minnesota in the States, and her specialty was working with high net worth individuals in Texas. It was just, and she had 25 years of working with high net worth. And so these are people that are in oil and gas and lots of stuff like that. And it was just such a specific niche that she had. She had never been in Texas, and before, once she had clients there, she'd visit, but she never lived there. But she had just built this specialty, and that kind of goes to show that, especially today with Zoom and phone calls and everything, geography is not as important as have you done this a bunch before.
Yeah, exactly that. And after the pandemic and everything, we were all forced online, and we were trying to force the issue before that, because I like the personal side of things. And I think that most of the time brokers, we were all on the phone, email and phone, and actually video was so much more powerful for connecting with people. But the problem then was that it was like even now we're on a browser doing this, right? You could have sent this to anybody. I didn't have to install anything. It's just there, it works. And that's the norm now. Whereas before it was like, you've got to download this program and install it and sign up to this thing and whatever. And it was just a blooming nightmare. Whereas now there's just no barrier to entry. It's just dead easy. Everyone's used to it. People all use it for work. And in the pandemic, we're having crazy parties on Zoom and stuff. I know we did. So it's a thing now. People are just fine and comfortable doing it. And actually, it's weird, but 99% of my conversations at work now happen on a video call. I find it weird when someone rings me. I'm like, why are they ringing me? Where's that coming from? It's a bit like someone knocking on your door. Like, why are they knocking on my... It feels a bit like that when someone rings me without a meeting and I'm not seeing them. They're just... Or if you're on a meeting with somebody and their camera's off, you just find people apologising for that now. Oh, sorry, my camera's not on. I'm whatever. And because it's just weird to not do it now. It's normal. So anyway, mortgage advice, absolutely. Doing it face to face, but via the internet is hands down the best way of doing it, I think, and making sure that you're getting to the right person. It doesn't really matter where you are. So, but there are still
I
people who want to do it face to face. That's fine.
I think what I'm really curious about, this is probably the last question. Well, how do you vet? How do you find? How do you vet brokers? What is your process for finding the right broker with the right specialties?
So we've had a varying approach to this in the past. Part of it is there's a lot of experience and failure that's gone into learning that. But over the years, we've worked with all sorts of different firms and individuals, and you know which ones are going to do well and not based on some core factors. Some of the competitors that we work against, not that I would like bad mouth anybody in the industry, but like they don't care that brokers are FCA qualified or not. They're not asking for evidence of that. So they could be sending customers to somebody who's using their data for some purpose that they shouldn't be, you know. So for us, it was the due diligence side of things massive. We vet the firms. We've got a financial controller and our head of finance who go to town on investigating firms that we work with financially to make sure that they are legit who they say they are. They're on the FCA register. They've got all the permissions they need. They're trading well and don't look like there's going to be any issues financially. We do Experian credit checks on all of the firms that we work with to see if they've got any gremlins there or skeletons in the closet. There's quite a lot of financial due diligence that goes into it. Obviously, every firm signs agreements and a charter with us to make sure that they're going to be handling customers in the right way. And then we'll do a fair amount of investigating into the brand as well, because mortgages it can be a bit of a cottage, it's seen as a bit of a cottage industry. I don't know if you know the term there, but there's a lot of smaller firms that kind of work independently, and as a result, they all have different sales processes. They all use different technology. They all have their own branding and systems. And for the most part, mortgage advisors just want to help people get mortgages. They're not that advanced, I suppose, when it comes to technology, it comes to marketing and branding and things like that. So a lot of the mortgage brands that you'll find, and there's some amazing ones out there, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of dross as well. And some of the websites and logos that brokers use, they look like failed high school projects. It's bizarre. So we do a bit of diligence into that also, because we want to make sure that the firms that care about that side of things care about the customer experience, and we'll be looking into the number of reviews they've had. We'll be looking into the quality of those reviews, what their ratings are, and things like that, to make sure that before we start, these firms are going to be somebody that we want one of our customers to be speaking to. And then once we've done that, we onboard them and we'll monitor them thereafter to make sure that they are as good as we need them to be. And we actually run our own advisor score system. So we'll ask every customer at periodic times after we've introduced them, how's it going? And then there's a 5-star rating that they contribute towards. So every advisor, a firm that we have has a rating, an advisor score rating, and that can't drop below a threshold. If it drops below a threshold, then we stop working with them. So we make sure that the customers are happy with the advice and the experience that they've had as well.
That's amazing. And that kind of leads me to, you actually have a really cool guarantee that I haven't seen in other places. Could you share about that?
Yeah, yeah. I suppose from a guarantees perspective, we can say that we think that we've got a good service, and you're taking the chance as a customer as to whether that's true or not. And having a guarantee in place serves to feel people reassured that actually we are putting our money where our mouth is, and we're able to guarantee, essentially our guarantee is an approval guarantee. So we say, look, if you've come to us and we pass you to one of the experts and they say no, we can't help, which obviously can happen, not everybody's eligible for finance, but then you go and get approved somewhere else, we'll guarantee that we'll pay you. So because we want to make sure that people are really clear about what it is that we're doing and that we back ourselves on that. And it holds us to account, right? If we didn't have a guarantee and the performance wasn't there, then it wouldn't cost us anything. And I suppose a principle is only really a principle when you're willing to lose money. So we've got it's tested there. You can say a lot of things, but until you're willing to put money into it, it's just noise. So that's why we have a guarantee. It's there to help people feel reassured, hopefully presents to customers that are considering working with us that we're confident in what we do, but also it works as our team to hold ourselves to account to deliver on what we're promising.
Yeah. It makes it a no-brainer to come to you first, to trust
Charlie,
your
you
process
said
to
it
find the
better.
right specialist.
That could be the headline of this video.
I like it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so if someone is wanting to come to you, what's your website? How can they get in touch with you and get in touch with one of your specialists?
Yeah, just oma.co.uk. And then we've got live chat most hours of the day now and inquiry forms there, or you can call up and would you just patch you straight through to one of the experts. So, best way to do that.
oma.co.uk. That's perfect.
That's the one.
Thanks, Pete. Glad to have you here on the Top Lenders show, and hopefully talk to you again soon.
Nice one. Cheers, Charlie.
Bye.